Buddies, and welcome to the Bleach review for episodes 7 and 8 of Bleach, the 1000-Year Blood War arc. Fantastic episodes. I'm sorry I missed last week. I was not well, but I'm back, and I'm going to do you a double review this week. Like I said, fantastic episode. Animation, second to none. Both episodes just gorgeous to look at as per usual, full of action. Slight changes from the manga, but I think they were changes that were done overall for a good reason. So episode 7, Born into the Dark, opens with a shot of the original Gotei 13. Old Man Yama when he was young Man Yama, and the original Gotei 13 wiping out the previous Quincy invasion. You see Yama with his Bankai approaching Yoha, but just as he's about to strike Yuha down, can never remember, Tojiro, who is dead now, you remember, the Yama's lieutenant with the lightning Bankai, sneaks out of the pile of corpses from behind Yuha and pierces his heart, which is the reason that Yama does not kill Yuha in the past, is because he didn't want to hurt Tojiro. We then cut from there to still young man Yama, but talking to a very young Shinsui in his room, explaining that the monster that appeared all those years ago shall never show up again, but if it does, we will deal with it. Yama has been cleaved in twain. Yuha has sliced him in half. He is dead. Yuha begins to gloat over his body. He begins to explain that, you never had a chance. The 13 Floor Gar squads have been nothing since the originals, and the originals were nothing but a bunch of thugs that you put together. My men cannot be defeated by such men, and therefore you never stood a chance. Just as he's leaving, the half of Yama's body with his sword hand reaches for Yuha's foot and steps on it, so Yuha chops his hand off and crushes his skull. And then completely, just in one of the coldest moments in Bleach, just eviscerates Yama's body, turns it to dust. No, we don't. Sorry, we cut from Yuha to Ichigo in the jail. Ichigo's still in Quillhei OP's jail, still trying to break out, and for some reason he can see stars going out. And he keeps cutting to Soul Reaper dying, and Ichigo's panicking, saying, "Don't die, don't die, don't go out, don't go out, don't go out." And then in an absolute fit of rage, he breaks out of the jail. Instantly gets through the Garganta and hits the Soul Society, where the medical ninja who summoned him is dying in front of him. Ichigo then proceeds to fly through the Soul Society, takes out a couple of low-level Sternritters, and then he finds Byakuya, who's dying. Byakuya, in a very heartfelt moment, and it must have been very difficult for him as a character, asks Ichigo this one last favour, to protect the Soul Society, because he couldn't do it. Ichigo does not give a response, he just leaves, but Byakuya says he understands that even though he didn't get a response, he will do the right thing. He knows that Ichigo will protect the Soul Society because he knows he will protect Rukia and his friends who are here. After this, it cuts to... After this, it cuts to what I would like to describe as a Dragon Ball Z fight scene between Ichigo and Yuha. The animation in this scene is just gorgeous, from Ichigo's explosion of spiritual pressure to the rage he feels to everything else. The fight scene goes on for a while, then Yuha wins. Yuha stabs Ichigo through the neck, but as he looks down, he sees Blue Vein, the Quincy protection armor, appear on Ichigo's neck, and it keeps him alive. And Yuha is shocked by this, but not overly shocked, just slightly surprised. And he begins to explain to Ichigo that you don't know anything about yourself, do you? You don't know who you are. You don't know anything about your mother. And I should have never sent Quillhei. I should have sent in a wrong car to deal with you, because the time in your jail while you were releasing your spiritual pressure has awakened the memories within your spiritual pressure. Ichigo is very confused by this and just in a fit of rage, so he doesn't know what to do. So he charges at Yuha. Yuha knocks him back again and takes him down. And then a portal appears, a black portal appears next to Yuha, and he seems rather annoyed. Then Hashwald says, "We're out of time, sir. We can't, you could no longer exist outside the London Reich. We have to go back." And Yuha looks at him and goes, "You knew about this, didn't you, Hashwald? But you didn't tell me." And Hashwald turns around and says, "Well, I didn't think I could stop you doing what you wanted to do anyway, sir. But I thought we had more time." And then he realizes that Aizen, when he went to see him in the short period of time 2 episodes ago, has manipulated Yuha's senses into believing that time was progressing slower than it was. Or perhaps he didn't. This is the thing about Aizen, you never know what he really did. He could have made him think that he thought time was running slower. That's the beauty of Sosuke Aizen's powers. It's just, you never quite know what the man is thinking. And the episode ends with Yuha leaving, as Ichigo is just in a fit of rage, charges towards Yuha. Hashwell draws his sword. Ichigo's Bankai, by the way, his sword, his Zanpakuto, has been getting chipped. Slowly but surely, it's been getting more and more chips since he was in the jail, since his fight with Yuha. There's a reason for this, which I will get into later on. But basically, Hashwell draws his sword and just shatters Ichigo's Zanpakuto, and then just leaves. And the episode ends. And that was episode 7, Born in the Dark. Now I move on to episode 8, The Shooting Star Project, Zero Mix. I was really looking forward to this episode, because this episode saw the introduction of Squad Zero. Squad Zero are the most powerful Soul Reapers in the Soul Society, but they do not exist in the Soul Society. Their job is solely to protect the Soul King and the Soul Palace, so they exist up there. They basically, I'll run through this quite quick because not a lot happened in this episode, but it was important what did happen in this episode. So the episode opens with Captain Unohana in the medical bay, the former Kenpachi, talking to her lieutenant, and the lieutenant's crying and asking her, why did we stay in the barracks? We could have helped so many people out there. And Unohana explains that it was the final order given by Captain Yamamoto was for us to stay here. Main reason behind this, as my brother enlightened me earlier on today, which is a very good point, is anyone under a captain or lieutenant level, and even the lieutenants in the Seirete, would have basically been crushed and incinerated under Yama's spiritual pressure once his Bankai was released if they were outside. At least if they were fighting at the time. So he made sure all the medical ninja would be safe inside the barracks where they couldn't be harmed by his own techniques. Back to the notes, by the way. Sorry I keep looking down. It's just, I keep my notes here and I don't want to do this all the time. So, after this, we cut to a medical ninja running in to the effective funeral rites, but not funeral rites, of old man Yama. His shattered Zanpakuto is laying on a desk in his office, and all the other captains are around. I can never remember her name. The one with the Zanpakuto that is a poison needle that goes on her fingers. I can never remember her name. The ninja chick. I hate the character, so I've never really bothered to learn her. She is freaking out, screaming and getting angry until Shinsuke walks in, now sporting an eye patch because Robert blew his eye out with a gun. And basically explains that, can you imagine if the old man Yama saw us now, he'd line us all up and he'd thump every single one of us. We're here to protect the Seirete, not to complain, not to moan, not to whinge and complain. We are the captains of the 13 Core Guard Squads. Our job is simple. We must protect this world. After that, we cut to a ninja cutting into this room to explain that both Byakuya and Kenpachi Zaraki have survived. We cut to Ichigo going to see Mayuri Kurasuchi, the head of the Research and Development Department. He's asking Mayuri to fix his Zanpakuto because he says, but you fix yours all the time. To which Mayuri responds, I don't fix my Zanpakuto, I modify it. You're going to have to fix it yourself. You need to infuse it with your spiritual pressure and reforge the blade. So Ichigo says, okay. Then he is told that, come with me, Ichigo Kurosaki, Squad Zero wants to see you. They're on their way. So Ichigo is taken with the other captains, and it is explained when he asks, where were Squad Zero? He says, remember when you first came to Soul Society, remember those walls that came down to protect the Soul Society? He goes, well, where do you think those walls are now? What do you think those walls are protecting now? The answer is the Soul Palace. But Squad Zero arrive in their, for lack of a better term, elevator, which does not look like a lift, but it's a lift. They slam down all 5 members, because there are only 5 members of Squad Zero. They are all captain level, and they are the most powerful Soul Reapers in the Soul Society. They come down. They explain that they came down because now we're here on orders of the Soul King to rebuild the 13 Core Guard Squads, and Ichigo Kurosaki, you're coming back up with us. Ichigo is a bit iffy at first, and then Urahara, Mr. Hackclog, shows up on a TV screen being projected out of Kone's head, which was brilliant, to let Ichigo know that Orihime and Chad are both alive and well, and that he should do what he thinks is best. Because that's always what Ichigo does. As long as he does what he thinks is best, it'll involve him protecting everyone in the end anyway. After this goes off, Ichigo agrees that he will go up with Squad Zero to the Soul Palace. He goes up to the Soul Palace. As I say, not a lot happened in this episode. A lot of action in the previous episode. This was more stage building. But he goes up to the Soul Palace. He's taken up with the 5 members of the Court Guard Squads, whose names, other than one, have not been revealed yet. The one who has been revealed is a medical ninja. It turns out he taught Unohana, the former Kenpachi, everything she knows. That's it. Squad Zero explained that Ichigo is not the only one that is going with them. Renji, Byakuya, and Rukia, because their injuries are so severe, will be taken up to the Soul Palace as well and healed there. Ichigo's like, fine. They send him up to the Soul Palace. He ends up in a hot spring where he sees his friends completely submerged underwater with the medical ninja with this giant cliff, basically stating that this water will pull out all impurities and drain their spiritual pressure. Then I will throw them in the blood pool, and the blood pool will regenerate this, and I will do this several times, and eventually they will be healed. Now shut up and soak, Ichigo. Your injuries are so severe you won't heal on your own. Get in the water. And then we find out that it's Juratos, the hot spring demon, is his name. And that's it. We end the episode on a slightly sinister shot of him with his name revealed, and then it cuts to the cast. Good world building episode. Very glad they introduced the Squad Zero at this point for the Gote 13. I like Squad Zero. They're all pretty much useless in the manga, but it'll be interesting to see what they do with them here, because one of them is going to reforge Ichigo's sword, and spoilers, he's going to get a new Bankai. But anyway, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That was episodes 7 and 8 of Bleach, the 1,000-Year Blood War arc. Yet again, I'm sorry I missed last week. I will be back next Wednesday, with another review. In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what we do here at GeekBuddy, if you appreciate the content we put out, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything that comes out in the future. Thank you, everybody that tunes in to watch these videos. I love you all. It means so much to me that you actually watch my daft little show that I do here. I've been Nick the Geek, and I'll see you next week. Bye.